Hey, it's Shabes, and welcome to another edition of AniTube Digest, where we go over the best and not so best anime YouTube videos to come out this week from the 10th of November to the 16th of November. And now for the videos that I thought were, not good. But they, I just, can I be a little pretentious for once? Like, be a bit of a snob, with this first. It's not like a bad video or anything like that, but I wanted, this kind of just, it just bothered me, okay? It's this channel that MetaHelk actually linked in one of our Discord chats. I just happened to catch it. I did not know about this channel beforehand, but the channel's called The Beauty Of, and it seems to just be a channel dedicated to cinematography of various films, either mainstream or more auteur. A couple anime. They've done like Akira Ghost in the Shell. And they're doing Neon Genesis Evangelion here. Not just the end of Evangelion, but the whole show. And here's the thing. I would like this typically, because it's an AMV, effectively, but they're not really, right? So it's like, what's the problem? So it's just the OP, the full OP, like uncut, the full song, and it's to Evangelion footage and end of Evangelion, and it mixes between end of Evangelion and regular, and there's no real succinct correlation with, like, it's just a bunch of clips, and there's no commentary to it, and it's just the OP to the show. And I don't know, it just kind of rubbed me off the wrong way. I was just like, you gonna do anything else? Like, yeah, it's good cinematography, and I mean, maybe I'm coming from the fact that I've seen this show and movie. It's kind of popular. A lot of people who will be clicking on this video have probably seen it. So, and like, it's not like they're choosing a lot of obscure shots either. Like, it's a lot of like, yeah, that is a good shot from Ava that everyone knows kind of deal. You know? And they just come up as like, wow, isn't this like... But like, there was no commentary to it. Or organization of clips in such a way that makes it visually striking. And the fact it was just the OP of the show. And it's sort of synced. It's sort of synced to the song. But not super, like, engagingly in the same way. It does, like, the bum, 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 bum with the OP, and it does some fade to black stuff. But, like, that's it. And it's just clip selection otherwise. And it's a lot of, like, keeping the shot for a long period of time and then going to the next one. And it's flip-flopping between End of Evangelion and the regular TV series. You know, I'm not looking for something predictable, like, you know, going in order or something. But, like, you could have done, like, the TV size version of the OP and then do a song from End of Evangelion or something like that, or something interesting. You know what I mean? And I'm sorry if I'm coming off, like, really kind of, like, I'm aiming at, you know, I shouldn't be, you know, I usually don't go after channels like this or whatever, but, like, and, like, looking at the channel and everything, it was just very gimmicky. And, you know, I'm not the biggest fan of that, personally. I mean, that's just me. But, like, I'm sure they enjoy it, and their audience enjoys it. So it's like, who the fuck am I, right? You don't have to, you know, if they happen to find this or something. But, like, yeah, I couldn't get behind it personally. I was just like, yeah, all right. This sort of video could have been really effective, but it just wasn't. I don't know. They didn't really do much to persuade me in that way, even though I don't need persuasion. I know it has good cinematography, right? And it's maybe that was it. Maybe it was like giving me a point I already knew, but I don't really want to fault a video for doing that usually. I was like, oh, that's not new information. Or, like, I'm not trying to be that snobby, right? But it, like, give some emotion. I don't know. Like, it was just weird. I don't know. Couldn't get behind it. And, you know, somebody told me this video was really bad, and it's not that bad, but I wanted to comment on it, and I couldn't really bring myself to put it in decent. Funimation has another Funimation flashback. Same host, same deal, and I commented on the first episode rather favorably. I think it was about Yu Yu Hakusho, and I liked it. And I liked that they were making content like this. But they didn't really say anything about this show, about Haruhi Suzumiya. You know, a really popular series. It was a lot of surface level. Before the Chica dance was the Haruyuki or whatever. And it's like, she's a god. You know what I mean? I don't know. Like, I'm sure even if you really went out of your way to explain some of the oddities of this show, like the fact that you could watch it in two different orders. There's a broadcast order and a quote-unquote chronological order, I believe. I haven't actually seen it. I haven't seen Haruhi myself, actually, yet. Or you could have talked about the movie. Could you not talk about the movie or something? Do you have to relegate it to the series? Couldn't talk about Endless 8? Do you just have, again, the first season? You know, there's a lot of cool, wacky things that this show does, and she doesn't talk about any of them. It just felt very surface level. Or you could have talked about, like, it's Kyoto Animation, like, really good. It's when, you know, this is, like, kind of the big opens the door for a lot of light novel adaptations. Or, I know Familiar of Zero was also a big hit in that era, but, like, I don't know. There's more contextual, interesting things to say about this show than just, like, she's God. You know what I mean? I get you have 5 minutes. I understand. It's not the biggest deal. Again, it's not like an awful video, but it was just kind of like, huh, okay. You know, I mean, I could have probably mentioned that about the first Funimation flashback, but like, I didn't notice it in that case, but I felt it was more glaring in this case. It was just more obviously kind of surface level and not all that additive, especially for a show that like a lot of people know about already. You know, it's like, why are we making this? I don't know. Or maybe you could have tried to like take it from the angle of like, this used to be really popular, but a lot of people have, you know, it's kind of moved on. Like not a lot of people talk about it in the current sphere, like the streaming era. And there's a lot of new fans in this current period that have probably not seen Haruhi. So maybe giving a suggestion of like, you know, why they should check it out. Not because like it's popular back then, but you know, genuine recommendation or something like that. I don't know. There's a couple ideas for you, but it didn't have a lot of that. So I was like, okay, fine. Okay, now for some videos that I thought were decent. Pretty sweet, I must say. I enjoyed. The first is just a shout out of sorts to just a neon site like, hey, this is a thing. You guys remember, I talked about it on Digest, actually. I think it was Lost Pause that I talked about specifically because he was really doing a lot of shitty takes about old anime period. It was a really bad video talking about this idea of a Japanese company starting a YouTube channel to put episodes of anime on YouTube. And they're like, whoa, this could kill Crunchyroll. Yay! Well, that channel has finally started dropping content this week pretty regularly. They're releasing a handful of shows, one episode at a time every few days. Pretty, you know, regular stream of it. So I put in the description the first episode to Fantastic Children, which is you know, it's just the English dub and it's not great. But I've watched this show and it's fantastic. It's a fantastic show. Fantastic Children's a fantastic show. I really like it. But I'm very happy that they're uploading this. It also makes me think like, huh? So the license, no one's gonna touch that, huh? It's too bad because like that's a great show. I guess it's just no one wants it. Oh well, it's kind of weird to advertise. It's a little, it doesn't immediately grab your attention or anything like that, but it's really good, seriously. But yeah, AnimeLog, new channel. I'm gonna keep my eye on it in terms of what they might upload on there. It'd be really sweet if they got like Future Boy Conan or something, even though Future Boy Conan is on YouTube in its entirety, like in pretty good quality. But like it'll be interesting to see what they put up here. But just as a pointing out, and also like a haha, all those people that made those videos, dumbass. So the Anime Man put out Anime Cypher 2020 with a group of other anime YouTube rappers. Anime YouTube rappers. And like my first thought was like, oh, it's just an exclusive club now, is it? Because this is kind of a long-standing tradition. They would call it AniTube Cypher, or maybe we called it Anime Cypher back then. But for a couple years, Nino specifically would start a kind of a rap chain challenge sort of deal. He would have a cipher, and then using the same beat, he would tag 3 people, and then they would produce a rap, and then they'd tag 3 people. And it'd be a fun little challenge and a very fun, creative thing, getting us out of our comfort zone too. A lot of us don't rap, right? But these 5, they rap. They like to do it. They like it, and they're good at it. They're all pretty decent at it. Although the one guy that you might not really recognize here, Otaku D Furiku, I checked his channel out and he hasn't uploaded in a year at least. He was my favorite. He killed it. I mean, I might just have a soft spot for very fast rappers and like really complicated verbal spitting. I do like that, but I thought he was my favorite. But like they all did a decent job. But then it just kind of came off the wrong way for me. It was just like, oh, I guess we're not doing the community challenge, I guess, outreach, Just going to be the exclusive club, huh? Make a nice And I get where it's coming from, too, where the Smash community and the PokeTube community have done these before. So it's not completely out of the ordinary, and it makes sense, and it was good. I mean, it's a good rap, I thought. Not that I'm much, a connoisseur or anything like that. I enjoyed it. Still very, very reference heavy, which I guess is the play, it's the game. But I don't know, it's not my favorite. I usually, at least when I'm the 3 ciphers I've done for this, one of which is unlisted, and 2 of which one's unlisted on my main channel, one of them's on this channel, and the third one's just on Twitter, buried forever. Yeah, like. The 3 that I've done, I usually like having some sort of very concrete message and kind of not just doing a lot of fancy whatever, having fun with it, of course, and it's a good time, but like, having some sort of actual message towards it. And these guys are mostly going for style points. And that's not a bad thing, but it's just, it's not what I would have done, but it's not like I'm better than them. No way. Not at all. It's just a difference of priorities, I guess. But, like, yeah, that was what was coming off to me. I was like, huh, they're just doing it themselves, I guess. I guess it's fair, because Nino didn't really... He's been very quiet this year. I actually just saw him tweet, like, today, like a couple hours ago. He's like, might retire from rapping. I'm like, no! No! But, yeah, I enjoyed this, though. It was nice to see. So, Digi is back with some actual analytic anime content. Doing a heel turn on Violet Evergarden, and I remember she didn't like it too much when it was airing, having a very big bone to pick with the depth of field and the technical stuff they were doing with this anime. But she tried it again, and the video I included in the playlist is the second video she had on her back on Digi Collective, lifting a curse on my brain, why I changed my mind about Evergarden, which I was more interested in. I did watch both videos, but like this one was more what I was curious about, I suppose, and what that curse could be. And it was interesting. The majority of the video is not really about that, about like what changed specifically about Evergarden, but it was because Digi had to really contextualize how she had been approaching anime and watching it and consuming it. When it comes to like her identity and whether she wants to embody a girl that he sees on screen, or if he at the time, but she now, or if she wants to date the female character, right? And that if it was neither of those things, she wasn't necessarily engaged with the show. And she suspects that was kind of what was happening with Violet Evergarden. And she was able to kind of see the past that, and that's the curse basically lifting off of it. And I thought that was really interesting. It was more introspective from her. It was good to hear from her. I'm looking forward to the I forget the name of it, but it's this road trip that she's been on lately. I guess she's going to be doing some stuff with that. That's really exciting. Looking forward to that. But it was good to see more content back from her. Good shit. I checked out a video from JumpTheShark, the greatest anime OVA you've never seen. Gozenzo Sama Banbanzai. I still butcher the name. I still haven't seen it. I think I'm gonna make it like my 700th or 800th. I think it's my 700th. Yeah, I have 686 completed, so I might make that my 700th. I think it's a nice number. It's a nice a nice pick for that. I liked what JumpTheShark had to say about it. It was a lot of clips, like a lot of pausing and letting the clip speak for itself, and a lot of sampling in that way. I felt like that sort of interrupted the flow of what JumpTheShark was talking about. It was harder to kind of parse that for me. But, I think he made his case with that, and he was wondering about, he's been wanting to make a longer form analysis, talking more specifically about the show, I guess. And I think that would be valuable. I think you should go right for that. Not really worry about how few people have seen it. You'd be surprised. It's not like this is like a raw, like an anime that doesn't have subtitles. You know what I mean? But more so, it's not like it's an anime that wasn't directed by Mamoru Oshii. Like that, a lot of people like that guy, so they check this show out mainly because, initially, besides they hear that it's good, right? Because this is very strongly, very well received by most people in the community, at least in the deep end. I would just go forward with the longer analysis. I think that would be really interesting, and then definitely encourage people to have seen it, maybe even twice, because like I imagine this from my perspective of what you were present from your video and from what I've seen of it from other videos and stuff. It seems very dialogue heavy and kind of dense. I don't know. I'm not sure if it would take two watches. I mean, I haven't seen it, right? So I'm not sure. But that's what it was coming off to me a little bit. It was like hard to parse for the first time, and then when you get the full context and you go in a second time, kind of like Lane. Not like you need to watch Lane twice either. You don't really have to watch any anime twice specifically, but this seems like it would benefit from a rewatch, I suppose. For people in general to then be at the level that you would be at to make an analysis video on this, and then being really in depth, I think that would be really cool. And you seem very analytically tuned for it, so I think it would work out really well. So I encourage that for sure. This was really cool. I was very happy to see this video from Craftsdwarf. Fairy Tail is good, more or less. Part 1 of the overly long tirade on the overly long tirade. So this is a response video to his own content from a few years ago. And this is, I think those are the videos I did first see from Craftsdwarf. Was like the guy who shits on Fairy Tail, basically. Not like he brands himself or is known for that, but it is one of his most popular videos, period, in terms of series as well. And this is after years and reading a lot of other shonen with Mathwiz, with the Nensho podcast, and becoming a much more informed reader and much more aware of things, and smarter, wiser, older and wiser, if you will. And so he said, looking at his previous content, is like, that's not good. And I really like the real dedication to taking down such a popular video of yours. I think a lot of us would be kind of like timid to do that. I mean, I did just criticize iPatchWolf for not for doing that. Like, I liked that he did that, but I don't think he ended up kind of just backtrack. He didn't really retract a lot of what he said there. He just kind of corrected the misinformation that he had, while still being kind of wrong about Bleach. But like Craftsdwarf was really like going in on his own content. It was like, you idiot! It's like, of course there's no dichotomy when there's 6 sides, you Do you know how words work? You know what I mean? I really liked that from him. Because it's cathartic. It's what like a lot of us, I would assume, would want to do with our own content, with a lot of our earlier content, where we see what we did and we're like, you idiot! Or it's like, oh, it's so cringe or something. I think it's great to see that from Craftsdwarf. I was thinking about watching the first the video that this is responding to before watching this, but I decided not to. But I kind of wish I did, because I don't think he was as clear as he could have been about really breaking this video down. I feel like if you could have better recreated what the video was like. At first I talked about this and this, and I feel like you did, but it just kind of got lost in the shuffle and okay, here's what I did good about it. That's all that was good. Oh no, and it was a lot of the shonen analytical kind of talk and referencing certain events and understanding things, but I don't know if it was necessarily as followable for an audience member that's never read Fairy Tail before, like myself. I've never watched or read Fairy Tail. I do want to at this point, because I just feel like there's something about Fairy Tail that speaks to me. I think I would enjoy it compared to some other shonen, battle shonen of late. Anyway, my takes on shonen are something else entirely. But yeah, I was genuinely really happy to see this from him. I don't know if it was the most coherent for me to follow, and the most like concise, hard point kind of deal. Maybe a little bit more of showing the excerpt from the video first and then correcting it, or some sort of visual representation of that. I don't know. It was hard to mix the two of what's your critique of it and what was from the original video. There are some moments that are very clear, but like it got a little misty for me. I don't know if that's the right term for it. But again, I'm very happy he's making this series. It's pretty cool. And at the buzzer, before I was recording, before I decided, I was like, yep, I've recorded. I'm recording a little later. I saw BestGuyEver's newest video on anime and music, and it caught my eye immediately, and I really wanted to check it out after not being so thrilled with his previous video. And I have a feeling that there was a bit of a subtweet of he said something to the effect of lowering your expectations towards the beginning, and I was like, yeah, okay. Yeah, that's what I said about your last one. You didn't really do that. I don't know. But I did, and I did for this one. I was like, okay. I'll see where you're at. And it was similar to the last video that he did, where it's a lot of different points related to vaguely the same idea of music and having to do with anime, I suppose. But it was less about anime and more about music consumption in the internet age. I really enjoyed his section, the last section, which is specifically about remixes, which is where a lot of the thumbnail, I think, is coming from. With you have Michael Jordan and all that. All those remixes and him talking about that was really interesting. I really liked that. And you can tell he was very much a denizen of the internet, right? And I recognized a lot of the videos that he was featuring and stuff like that. So that was great to see. And I forget what his middle section. Yeah, he was commenting on the universality of music and how even just referencing it can lead you to more music and more enjoyment, right? And he talks about how he went in depth on all of the music references in JoJo and really got introduced to a lot of these bands like King Crimson and Gold Experience, and became a Prince fan out of that, and et cetera, and how the localization and the copyright is creating this sort of erasure, where it's like you can't make these references, otherwise you're in a litany of complicated copyright stuff. Which, by the way, I'm glad it didn't seem like any music was claimed in this video, which is funny. He's like, I'm sure I'm going to get hit with some. And it didn't seem you did. So I was like, yeah, good job. I know how it be. I know how it feels. My Gurren Lagann video in particular, there's like 7 or 8 IDs on it. Because I was like, I want to use these songs. And I don't care. I think he mentions Daikon 3 as well, Daikon 4, in this idea of like, yeah, they just take a bunch of dope shit and they you know, but it would have been interesting if you mentioned the fact that like, because they did that, they can't license Daikon 4 in an official release. Like, you can't own it anymore. Like, it's fine. Like, we're happy that we can watch it freely available on YouTube. Anyone can just pull it up. But to be able to own it and enjoy it in that way legally is impossible because of what they chose to do with those references and with specifically using Twilight. It's ironic, like, using the music is what prevented it from having this life, these legs. Even though it speaks for itself, like it remains a cornerstone of anime history, regardless of that fact. But Gainax in particular actually has a lot that they do that with. They've run into that trouble a few times. It's not fun. It's never fun. They tease us with Kino. But yeah, I liked this more, especially because it was, edited in such a way that was engaging all the way through and not like, okay, he's not really doing much, I'll just click on another tab. It was consistently visually engaging. That's not hard, you made a regular video. You know what I mean? It's like, that's just the kind of a bear that I would expect from any content creator, I would say. I know, but I really like the points that he was making here. I just felt, it wasn't reaching to a big crescendo point or anything like that, or super whatever. It did seem like, towards the beginning, he was just kind of talking about the OP and the ED and sometimes an insert song plays and stuff like that. And it didn't, it felt like you ran out of material for that. And then he's like, well, let's talk about this other thing I find interesting about music, which is this thing with, JoJo and referencing other things and how, there was a really good kind of observation / kind of like rumination, I guess is what I would sooner call it. This idea of why he might like subs over dubs, because he can kind of fit whatever feeling he can imprint whatever feeling he wants onto the music. And I actually felt that this morning. I'm just connecting it now. I was listening to some anime OP in the shower, like coming out of the shower, and one of the if you know the OP that I'm talking about, I won't spoil, but if you know the OP I'm talking about, one of the lyrics is like, "Watashi mo itsudemo eraku," and like the last word I don't know the meaning of, but like I know that like itsudemo is like always, and that's always kind of like a really cathartic, like, and the song is really cathartic and everything like that, really energetic and like hammer home kind of deal. And I don't know what that last word is, so like it doesn't matter to me because it's just I'm imprinting whatever feeling that is, and that's what I care about. I don't really care specifically about the lyrics or what they're saying. And so he's like, maybe the dub is giving me this cold reality of this is what they're actually saying. And I'm like, that's fair. That's actually kind of an interesting point. I mean, you could also just say that the Japanese just sounds cool because it's a really beautiful language. I feel that a ton. It would it be, but yeah, I liked this video. As PC and kind of all over the place it was, I enjoyed it. Well, let's talk about what we thought were the best videos of the week. The ones where it's like, whoo, yeah, but look, I don't try to tout my shit too often because it doesn't come out that often. Look, okay. But I had this video that came out a few days ago. 1,001 likes is all this video will get. I didn't have a title for it. I really didn't. I just wanted to make this video about 1,001 Nights using this particular opening scene and this song, Alden's theme, which I fucking love. And I just wanted to make this video because I like it. So I didn't have an idea for what I would call it. So it was called 1,001 views is all this video will get. And then it got 1,000 views in like 7 hours, which never happens. Recently, besides the Gurren Lagann video, my AMVs, several of them still don't have 1,000 views. Look, I'm being kind of annoying. I'm sorry. I just didn't expect this to get 1,000 views that quick. I was like, I'll probably have to change the title at some point. But less than 8 hours? Are you kidding me? All right, fine. And so I changed. I very on the spot. I was like, likes, and I was 1,001 likes. So I'm sure that might get changed. That might also change. But fuck it. No, but I'm putting this in best video because I like it. I was clicking on my own video as I was watching some of these videos because I really wanted to watch mine again. That's how much I liked it. Okay. I like what I make. Okay. Anyway. Yes, I'm putting that in the best videos because I actually do think it was pretty good. Anyway. Fuck you. This is not technically okay. Minecraft UHC with AniTubers from UrbanTheMyth. It's not really from Urban. It was coordinated by Korwa Eden, it seems, and I'm sorry, I don't know who the other person. Noxus, maybe? I think so. But at least Eden, I remember him like narrating and telling everyone the rules and junk. It was a bunch of anime YouTubers playing Minecraft, playing UHC. UHC is ultra hardcore. It's a battle royale where everyone's split into teams and the last team standing wins. And the difference, so it's like, yeah, it's just fucking Minecraft. The difference is you cannot heal naturally. Like there's auto regen in Minecraft. You can't heal unless you eat golden apples. That's the only way you can gain hearts back. So it makes it more challenging and more interesting and cooler. And I've watched this for years. I don't know if this was done specifically with Minecraft first. I don't know if I think they invented the UHC format. I have a feeling they did. I'm not 100% sure. They did it a while. They were like early. And they've done it for years. And so I watched a lot of them. Solo UHCs, team UHCs, all sorts. Yeah, I like this format a lot. But it was fun to see a bunch of people. And a bunch of people were streaming it and stuff. And it was a lot of fun. I think somebody was saying like I'd like to make it a monthly thing. So that'd be great. I would love to watch this monthly. And only watch. I mostly enjoy watching Minecraft rather than playing it, just because I don't think I'm very good at it. But also, granted, maybe it's because like I've never had a computer that really is able to play Minecraft well, but I do have a computer now that might be able to, that probably will be able to, but I don't want to risk. I don't know. Fuck it. I've watched Minecraft for too long that I'm whatever. So I mean, this is just Urban's perspective. But everyone probably has their archive streams on Twitch or something, but this was a YouTube related thing that I could have put in here. That was the thing that happened this week that I really enjoyed. Of course, it was a lot of fun. This was also right at the buzzer, right before I started recording. It's this channel just kind of popped out of nowhere, but like Miles from Crunchyroll, tweeted this video, what's next for the anime industry from Crunchyroll Expo 2017. I'm almost positive I had never seen this before, but this obviously this is the same expo that was Digi versus Gigic. I think it was moderated by Canopy Effect. This one is also moderated by Canopy Effect, and it has Miles from Crunchyroll, freaking Zach Birch, before his passing, and the author of like Anime in America or something like that. Let me see. Roland Keltz in the Japan Times. He was also on there. And they have a 45-minute conversation of what do you think anime is going to be like in 5 years? And I thought that was really valuable and interesting. Even if it's 3 years old, especially when it's 3 years old, because we're a little farther ahead, right? And we're starting to see like, are they making a big effect? Because we were like, whoa, Netflix, whoa, China. And now we're like, yeah, China, kinda. They're still not quite there yet. I don't think. I mean, the Ghibli film is the Ghibli-looking film is really exciting, but not much else. But now it's a different thing. It's Webtoon, the Webtoon, South Korean anime thing. But we'll see how that goes. The 3 shows that came out of that. Crunchyroll original. We're looking at different stuff now. But it was interesting to see what they cared about back then. And I thought Miles made a lot of salient points, and so did Roland. Zach didn't talk too much, unfortunately. I think he jumped in a couple times, and it was stuff that I'd heard him talk about in other Ancasts, but like it was still really interesting and valuable to hear from. And they focus a lot on like the animators should get paid, sort of deal. That was also really great. But that was something I that just kind of popped up out of nowhere. But wanted to send that to you guys in case you were interested. That was really cool. This is actually from one of my patrons, actually, but it came out this week, and he sent it my way, and I was like, ooh, .hack sign, finding fulfillment through escapism. And I actually really vibed with this video, more than I was expecting, given his kind of like relatively dry delivery and pretty standard clip selection. I think what really pulled through was his structure of the video, going character by character and what each of them found fulfillment in through escapism. And it's really the core idea of the show, and really having a full understanding of it. Not to mention it's a very positive video on .hack sign, all things considered, whereas a lot of people talk shit about it, which is unfortunate. And I think it's because a lot of them I don't think really focus on character. I think a lot of them think about the plot or like what happens in it, and not a lot happens. It's a bunch of nothing, but it's a lot of character interaction, and that's what it's taking its time up with, and kind of talking about these things and thinking things through, I guess. And it's more of a character study sort of piece, and I thought that was really interesting, and I was happy that Hakaru really zoned in on that. And I just thought it was very cohesive, and I found myself really paying attention. I think a lot of videos like this, when they don't have very video-centric scripts, so like there's a difference between writing an essay and writing a video essay, where you really have to be using language that engages an audience and can be enjoyed just by listening to it and not necessarily appreciating by reading it. I think they are two different things, and it took me a while to really get that. And I still kind of feel that, right? That you're just kind of writing a script. And script writing is still good, but it's difficult to do that. And I think it really worked with this one because of that strong understanding of the show, and also just kind of like showing relevant clips, like showing the character when you're talking about them, I guess. And it was just engaging in that way. It was very simplistic, but it was very effective. And I'm not saying this because you're a patron or anything. I was just like, yeah, that was because it honestly happens a lot where I watch a video like this and it goes in one ear out the other. I don't really grab onto a lot of stuff. I don't pay attention as much because it's not riveting in that way. It's not engaging in that way. And I think a lot of the aesthetics of this video steer towards that direction, but I really found myself keeping engaged because it was so clear that it's like, this character is about this thing, and he says this, and he thinks this, and he's relating it to this character who does this, and it's keeping going. It doesn't feel very rigid. It feels very natural that you're flowing from one character to the next. So I thought that was really good. I actually really, really enjoyed that. Good endorsement of .hack sign, which, yeah, like I think it really feels like, people love it or hate it. So it's another one in the love pile, I would think. So that was really good, seriously. AnimeAjay, man, this dude makes some good content. Dragon Ball Super complete collector's edition Blu-ray review. You're thinking it's just a fucking product review? Come on, dude. Like it's interesting. Where like AJ's making the kind of content he makes. On the surface, it'd be like, that doesn't sound good. Or that doesn't sound interesting. It seems fine, at most, right? But it's really the proficiency in which he's able to do this, and really talk about it in a way that he understands it. He's like, it comes with nice art. He's like, this is drawn by this person. We don't know that much about them on Twitter. Or like, he actually knows the people who drew this, who drew the figures on the box. He doesn't just say like, it has Vegeta and Goku on the box. He says like, it's got some art by Shinichiro. You know what I mean? Like he knows these people. And he's like, you can tell these people really care about not just design, but what makes good Dragon Ball art. He really cares about it, and like understands the again, this is what AJ's really made himself known for, is to being the guy who is able to be like, this is a very complicated, messy situation when it comes to Dragon Ball releases. The orange bricks or the various malfunctioning kind of, they're not like, it's not like unwatchable, a lot of these releases seem to be, but people wouldn't notice that it's like actually they cropped out a lot of stuff, or there's this ugly kind of green filter. Not a lot of mainstream audiences who are buying these products probably realize that for Dragon Ball in particular. It's very interesting that it's happened to such a high profile property that it's so hard for it to get any decent release, physical release. It's very weird. But, you know, like, I really liked him talking about it and being very honest with everything. Was like, yeah, this is paper, and, like, this is kind of bad, and the manufacturer said this and this is this type of glue, and this is why. And there's not a lot of belly aching in that way. And then, yeah, he does go into the picture quality and sound quality, and really, and not just like saying it, but informing his audience. It's like, I'll link you this Mark Brown video on bitrate, in which but basically more bitrate means better picture quality, or like you won't see the grain here because of YouTube's compression when uploading it to YouTube, but there's grain at this point because at this point of the show it starts doing more compositing. You know, he really is into it, and he's not just like this. He's not like reviewing the show. You know what I mean? He's reviewing the product, which makes complete sense. But it's so funny how rare that actually is in our discourse. Not just I feel like in general for media discourse, not just anime, but you know, physical media in general. A lot of people aren't talking to this degree and this scale, nitty gritty and care. Like it's really great, and it was really interesting. And informative and engaging, and yeah, it's fantastic. I know it's kind of dumb, as like it's just a Blu-ray review, kind of a product review basically, but it really is the finesse and care put into it, and it's like, yeah, this is great. ceicocat had a really good video about Gotcha, the Pokemon short that came out very earlier this month or last month I think. Finding the heart of Pokemon, and it's split into multiple sections, and she's really thorough about it. I was surprised. For a 16-minute video about, you know, like the 2-minute, however long Gotcha is, she really covers the whole sphere of this is who Rie Matsumoto is, and why it doesn't feel like cynical nostalgia because she did this other show, Kyosa Giga. This is where the Stand By Me references are coming from, and why that's important. And the relativeness that is to Pokemon as a franchise. And it was all very succinct, and I really liked that this didn't feel like I feel like Mother's Basement would have done this, or maybe he already did. I actually don't know if he made a video about Gotcha. I feel like he would have by now. You know, like some people be like, let me list everything that's happening in this Gotcha short. Like comment on every single shot of the coolness of it, and kind of like a what's in an OP of sorts. I don't think he's made one like that. I'm looking at his channel and I don't see one. But I'm very happy that Keiko didn't go that route. She didn't have to, because again, I really like how succinct this video is, and you're able to cover everything, and it feels like a half-hour video to its appropriate length. You know what I mean? It feels very appropriate. In terms of giving you your attention and time to it. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it, actually. I think there was a lot of technical proficiency here. A very small thing, but I really like that as the short kind of played with low fidelity, like low resolution type of thing, to make it look like a retro TV. Kind of playing with that nostalgia, you know, tastefully again. But I like that as a technical thing for the video itself, that she made her font also in a similar resolution. That was nice. Good job. I liked that. I liked that. But otherwise, it's very, very clean, succinct. I really liked that you talked about Rie Matsumoto. I don't know how necessary the Kyosa Giga spoilers were. I don't even know if there really were spoilers. It didn't sound like spoilers to me. Maybe you just that was the last shot of the show. I don't know. Or maybe it was the fact that they're brother and sister is a spoiler. I don't know. I don't know much about that. Okay, I haven't seen it. Looking forward to it, though. And that was very good. And I liked it. Hazel with a couple more bangers this week. And I watched all of them, but my favorite one was definitely In Search of 3 Years Lost, which I think is her AMV submission to a contest. I believe, perhaps. The other ones were like a much longer video talking about well, not talking about, but like giving a bunch of snippets of scrapped AMVs, and then she also made like an intro video of herself. But like this is another significant stage for her, another like stepping her game up. And again, I love when creators challenge themselves and are doing new shit. And in this one, she seems to be reciting a poem in the middle of this other lot of chaotic. It's very. I hesitate to say typical. I guess it's what you come to expect from Hazel. The kind of multiple sources, random sources. But this one really captured a very specific vibe, as I think her best ones do, which are very hypnotic and atmospheric and kind of like weird and chaotic. I found, I don't know if I said hypnotic already, but like the poetry reciting specifically felt very hypnotic. And I think there was parts where she was filming herself as well. There was a figure in there, and I believe that's her. That was also really interesting. Yeah, I thought this was my favorite out of hers so far. Out of the three she made this week. In general, there is at least one or two that I like more, but that's okay. Yeah, you don't have to. Yeah, keep out to. She is outpacing me a lot, and I think a lot of people in terms of like creative output this year. I've seen her go through several stages of transformation just in this year alone, which I can't say that about pretty much any other creator. Actually, it's really sick. It's really impressive. But she already seems to be kind of burning out a little bit. I hope that's not the case. But if it is, it's like, come see, come saw. Well, what it be? I'll enjoy the stuff that I did get, which is fantastic. But this was another one worth really talking about and being like, yo, check that shit out. It was sick. Also, I like the cameo of Steven at the end. That was really funny. But it just felt very mixed media and very wheelhouse for Hazel, but taken to another level with this poetry thing, her voice performance, and I think footage of her as well. But like that was stuff that was really interesting. I really like that. And finally, as we usually save best for last, because this usually shows up at the end either way, Core is back with a new year. Every anime in 1992 reviewed. In part 1, I suppose this is not necessarily just winter or just spring or something. I actually didn't look into it myself. But that is a curious change. That's not really going by season so much. But it's part 1 of a new year. And there is 31 anime that they covered. Core, Tyranno, Ember Reviews, Kamimashita, and Koriwa Eden. Koriwa Eden contributed 4 entries, Kami did 3, Ember did 4, Tyranno did 3, and Core did 16. Which is, not surprising at this point. It's what usually happens. Oh, I'm so sorry. I keep putting it at the bottom. I'm so sorry. Metahulk also contributed 1 entry about Ramayana. And that was also a very good segment, too. I actually did a short list of segments that stood out to me. I don't have it as perfectly, as amazingly thorough as I did rewatch it. I watched it live when it came out, and then I rewatched it today. It's not as lavish as the fall of 1989 video, if you'll excuse me. But some segments that I really liked: Sequence, Beast Wars, Candy Candy, Cooking Papa, Ramayana, Dagarn, The Bush Baby, Babel Nisei, Shin-chan, Mama's a 4th grader, and every section by Koriwa Eden. He fucking killed it in this video. Like, he was out, I think he was outpaced. He was very good here. I think he was, low-key, he was kind of taking, like, Man Mode's spot as the very, like, abrasive, really doing a lot of shit I guess, and bringing a lot of energy to it. And he was giving some man mode segments a run for their money, to be honest with you, because the fucking dog fucker anime, like, that was amazing, dude. Like, epilepsy where it's like dog, unbelievable. And the humor that he had in this for all four segments, fucking the beginning of the Joker Marginal City thing, where he's like a bunch of retarded kindergartner. Yup. It does this A and B section, like that's totally something man mode would have fucking done. And not like I'm not trying to say he's biting off man mode, but like it was great, and it just reminded me of the same thing. It was sick. And like I could not get over the 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 dissonance I was feeling of Eden talking about old anime. Like I couldn't get over it. I was like, this is so weird, and like I would never expect this. But I think he did a fantastic job. Fantastic job. Despite like two of them he didn't really like. Out of the four, which is like, a better ratio than you could have gotten given the selection here. I was so happy he liked Video Girl Eye. I was so happy about that. The fucking section he was going where he's kind of describing a typical episode, and then he switches to like an ASMR like emotional scene. It's like that's exactly he's reading exactly kind of the appeal or the feeling of what this show is like, and I'm happy he enjoyed it. I also like that he gave a numerical rating at the end of it. At the end of each of his sections, I thought it was very, very simple. He didn't have to do that, but it kind of gave that feeling of like, oh, that's kind of the ballpark of where he's at. But like, it was just really funny. He gave the dog fucker anime a 2 out of 10. It's like 2. Why did it deserve it? What made it better than a 1 out of 10? What the heck? I just thought that was funny. Yeah, it was great. He was really funny. And I really think he stole it, to be honest with you, ultimately. Although the other guys were good too. I mean, I've reviewed Kami's and Embers and Tyranno stuff as well. But like it was very much in their wheelhouse as if like this would be something that's on their channel, I guess. And I guess that's what you want out of it, right? I really like the earnestness that Kami was sharing, a lot of the personal stuff that he was sharing as well. Like I like that anecdote from the Candy section where he's like, I happened to start a podcast of like, the search of happiness or something like that. I thought that was really interesting, and his approach to that was good. And I really liked I think my favorite segment of his was Mom is a Fourth Grader, because it was that like, I'm a nurse and, I'm training into that, and I was getting interested in this sort of work, and seeing it portrayed in this show is really interesting. And I really liked that. It helps that it seemed to be a pretty good anime. Otherwise, Tyranno, it's too bad that 2 of them he didn't really like out of the 3 that he had, and then Bush Baby is just kind of watchable, but had this interesting anecdote about it when it came to availability. That was really interesting and really helped that segment. But it's I don't think Tyranno's the strongest when it comes to media that he doesn't like. Which I think is why he doesn't usually talk about it on his channel, which is like fair. When his last segment on it ends with "show bad, don't watch," and like it's a really long segment. Whereas like, I don't want to be super critical, right? But like, when Core talks about an anime that he didn't like, he doesn't spend a lot of time on it. I think it was around Genesis Survivor. It was like 3 entries after Genesis Survivor. Core does his section on Doraemon, and he's like, it's boring, it's not great. Spends like a minute on it or less. And maybe it was out of the idea that he specifies in the rules where it's like, I'd like you to make it 2 to 4 minutes. So that might be fair. But I just felt like Tyranno took a little too long describing Genesis Survivor. I think it could have been a little shorter, but like, what it be? And again, you can't really help that you're on it. You want to give the show an honest shake and honest feelings and stuff like that. But yeah, it's what it be. But Ember, I think it was good to see him talking about more obscure stuff and not like the stuff that he has a thing to say about, I guess. And again, it gives him a challenge in that way. Although again, maybe again it's my bias of not usually liking content of stuff people like than what they don't like. I think he enjoyed Shin-Chan and Beast Wars, but then 3 by 3 Eyes and Veda was like, yeah, but like it wasn't a lot that I was able to picture or take away from it from most of those, except Shin-Chan. It was good to hear his thoughts on Shin-Chan at the beginning of it and what the appeal of it was. I recommend watching some of the movies, specifically movie 9, if you've heard it. I mean, you may have heard that around, Ember, but I definitely recommend the 9th movie in particular. It's really, really good. I enjoyed it a lot. And I really wanted to say about Core's stuff this time, it's more than ever apparent in this video that he's really starting to get the hang of this, and every single segment seemed like he had a thing to say about it that was memorable or interesting, for the most part. I would say like the Tezzin 28 one was a little like, yeah, I like talking about the history more than the show itself. It's like the show itself's fine. But I really liked the majority of things that he was saying and introducing them with. A lot of I like a lot of the creativity he brought to it with some of the hyperbolic opening on Chameleon, and some of the skit he was doing for the beginning and ending of Boyfriend. The various sketches he was doing, like It's Saturday Morning kind of deal for Dagaran. That was good. That was good too. Yeah, but like you could tell he's really becoming kind of a veteran of this, and like really has a good feel of making whatever he's talking about interesting. Despite if he likes it or not, or just like makes you want to listen to it, I suppose, and engages you in that way. So I thought I maybe it was because there's so many. He has 16 segments out of the multiple ones, but I think I enjoyed Core's the most consistently, which is great. I think I've said it probably in other places. It's important for that if you're the host of the thing, right? to be able to do that. So I'm looking forward to the next video. I certainly am. Yeah, looking forward to it a lot. And I think that'll do it for this installment of AniTube Digest. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you to my patrons, including Beamburst, Hazel, Kuiper, MyAnimePod, Najbeb, Neil S., Tippy Mango, Unique Namosaurus, and Yellow Cheese. You guys have a great week. Yo, peace.